if you are not a fan of the Swiss science, then I can bet you for the fact that you are missing on a lot. You understand? Because over the weekend, one of the biggest bouts in the year did occur between Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican great, the Mexican boxer who has come into the middleweight division, from welterweight to the middleweight division to the light heavyweight division, and conquered almost every single body except Bivol and Floyd Mayweather. Yesterday, he went up against one of the big hitters in the welterweight division, Crawford. What did we see? We saw a bout where two fantastic boxers, two different boxers, because we have a puncher in Canelo Alvarez, who is a very, very big hitter, and then we have a boxer whose ring generalship is fantastic, bar none, in Crawford. But at the end of the day, superiority in ring generalship, superiority in technicality, superiority in understanding when to pot shots, when to throw a jab, and how not to clinch is what made it possible for Crawford to become the undisputed super middleweight champion. It is funny to think about this, because at the end of the day, you ask yourself, somebody who is moving 2 weight classes from the welterweight division, jumped super welterweight division, jumped light middleweight division, and then went to the middleweight division, 160 pounds, right? To go face a naturally gifted middleweighter, a naturally gifted light heavyweighter in Canelo Alvarez. Proud to the bout, I sincerely thought that Canelo Alvarez was going to be too much, because he's got experience fighting at a heavier weight. He's got experience fighting heavier guys. But come the end of the bout, Crawford has shown that he's got what it takes to mingle with every single person, to the extent that he has maintained his record of unbeaten. So Crawford, at the age of 37, has gone unbeaten his entire career, dishing out the third loss to the resume of Canelo Alvarez. But the question that I ask is, what is next? Is there a contractual obligation for Crawford to give Canelo Alvarez a rematch? Which is going to be fantastic, though, because you can't just have a one-off match to determine who the best is. If you want to find out who the pound-for-pound boxer is, if you want to find out who the best in that division is, then there should be a rematch. Because the rematch is going to authenticate whether Crawford did truly beat Canelo Alvarez. Because don't forget, it was a unanimous decision, which clearly indicates, or which clearly shows that what he had success from the beginning to the end of the bout. Are we going to see that in a repeat match again, or Canelo Alvarez is going to come out and then seek revenge? But history was made. History was made, because when Bernard Hopkins moved from light middleweight to light heavyweight, he had a career defending his light middleweight belt 24 consecutive times. Will Crawford, at the age of 37, have the same defense? I doubt, because age is not on his side. And currently, you realize that boxers do fight probably 2 times in a year. And for him to have even 10 successful defenses would mean that he would have to have another 5 years at the top minimum, which is going to take him to maybe 45, 43 years, which is a long shot when it comes to boxing, especially at the highest level. But on the whole, on the totality, do you think that we were served an interesting bout? What is your take? And do you think that Canelo Alvarez deserves a rematch, deserves a rebout? Because if he's able to get a rebout, what is it going to change? On a second thought, though, I thought that there were mistakes in his repertoire, because remember when he fought Mayweather in 2013, he thought he was going to use aggressiveness to beat Mayweather. But when you are fighting a more technically gifted boxer, you don't have to be too aggressive. You just have to know when you pot shots. You just have to know when you have to engage. You just have to know when you have to move. Yes, you're a big puncher, you're a big hitter, but you don't necessarily have to overwhelm your opponent with your punches. You have to use your technical abilities. And Crawford is more technically gifted. He knows how to use the ring. He knows how to move. He knows when to brow. He knows when to pot shots. He knows when to throw the jab. He knows when to engage. And these are the differences between Canelo Alvarez and Crawford. And that is what led to him winning the bout. And I do hope that we need to have a second bout. We need to have a rematch, because if you're a boxing lover, if you're a fan of the street science, it will be unfair for us to be served with only one bout between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. What I think, though, might be different from what you think. So what is your take? Comment, subscribe, and give us your like for the next episode. Thank you. If you agree with me, that United are directionless, United do not have a vision, and it's based on the fact that they have a coach who doesn't want to change. They have a coach who is stuck on a system that is not working. Until I come back to you in another episode, put your comment there and subscribe to our channel.